His mission is to inspire people and help those battling with illnesses like diabetes and be able to achieve anything.
Iron Andy has been traveling around the country as a national spokesman for Good Neighbor Pharmacy. He learned when he was 36 years old that he had type 1 diabetes, and he's determined to beat it by participating in Ironman competitions.
Iron Andy is here now to share more of his story. He said I called him Iron Randy before.
You did. That's okay.
And then you started talking about it right before we went on air, and I couldn't think of anything.
Iron Andy, Iron Randy.
Look at my sleeve.
All right. Andy, you have been participating in these Ironman competitions. First off, people have obviously heard of triathlons.
Sure.
What's the difference between an Ironman and a triathlon?
Well, Ironman is a triathlon, but the Ironman refers to the distance. So in an Ironman triathlon, you swim 2.4 miles, then you bike 112 miles,
Wow.
and then you run a marathon.
That's it.
That's it, yes. And then you collapse in your hotel room.
Exactly.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, this would be arduous on any human body, but being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, how much more difficult is the training process for you?
You know, it's a lot more difficult, and that's exactly why I decided to do it, because when I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, my first thought was confusion and then fear and then a little bit of anger, but I took it as an opportunity to do something to inspire all the children out there that have type 1 diabetes. I really wanted to show them that as hard as this disease is every single day, there's absolutely nothing that you can't do.
Because it's usually a disease that kids get diagnosed with.
It is. It's also called juvenile diabetes, and sometimes you get it into your late teens, 20s, and in my case, 30s, which is a little bit rare. But, you know, I was determined to show these kids, because I didn't have to deal with this as a child, so I actually felt lucky that I was diagnosed later on in life, and I thought if I could do something extraordinary, and I think clearly Ironman is, then I can certainly inspire these kids. I can bring hope and comfort to their parents. And for the past 5 years, as the Good Neighbor Pharmacy national spokesperson, I've been able to do just that. Travel around the country, speaking to people. I was at Sylvania yesterday speaking at a diabetes camp. So it's opened up a lot of really cool doors for me.
And we have a lot of amateur athletes around the area that love to work out. Just go through, what is the difference if you have diabetes? What different things do you have to do, eat, train to prepare your body for these Ironmen?
Well, there's nothing more important to train for and compete in a race like this than your nutrition plan. And with type 1 diabetes, I can't just take in carbohydrates without thinking about it. Every time I put a carbohydrate in my mouth, whether it's a drink or a sports bar or a gel, I have to prick blood from my finger to test my blood glucose. I have to give myself insulin. So there's a lot of kind of on-the-fly juggling that I have to do. And oftentimes during a race, my biggest issue is trying to manage my blood sugar on the fly, because every day it's different. So when the other triathletes are just worrying about swimming, biking, and running, I also have to manage my blood sugar. Sometimes it's too low and I have to slow down. Sometimes it's too high and I feel horrible.
Well, I know a lot of runners, when they're doing races, they have those little gummies or they have goo. So can you not just take that in for that caffeine fix? I mean...
Well, I can. I have the same kind of requirements, and I usually have the same plan as the other triathletes, but they can just take it in. I have to test my blood sugar.
While you're running?
Yeah, so think of the bike. 112 miles, that's about 6.5 hour bike ride. I'll take in carbohydrates every 15 minutes. So that means I'm testing my blood sugar on the bike, up on my handlebars, while I'm going 20 miles an hour every 15 minutes.
So how exactly do you do that? You're holding onto the handlebars.
A triathlon bike has what are called aero bars, so I'm kind of leaning up my forearms, and I have up here in my hands, I have the device that pricks blood from my finger. That, getting used to that was just a logistical issue, but it's actually managing what my body no longer does automatically, and that's the challenge. And like I said, every day is different. There are races where my blood sugar gets so high that I have to actually pedal slowly or run slowly. There have been races where my blood sugar gets so low that at every single aid station, I'm taking in all the carbs and gels and colas that I can get my hands on, and that doesn't make for a healthy stomach to be running on.
And where have you competed, obviously, likely around the world with these Ironman competitions?
Well, just in the United States, I've done 7 full Ironman triathlons, probably 30 triathlons in total. And again, back to being the national spokesperson for Good Neighbor Pharmacy, they've allowed me to travel all over the country. And I get to meet a lot of people, I get to inspire and motivate people. And one of the things that I do is also educate people about how important a pharmacist is for somebody with a chronic disease. You know, a chronic disease, you have things that can come up every single day. I do. And, you know, a doctor is great, but you can't see them every day. But a pharmacist is somebody that if you had to, you can go see every single day. You can talk on the phone, you can email. So that's part of my message. It's inspiration and motivation, but it's also educating people about the role of a pharmacist.
We truly are an inspiration.
That's what I was going to say. The only word to describe it, inspirational, Andy. Thank you very much for your time today.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Iron Andy. Not Iron Randy. But for more information about the Iron Andy Foundation, we'll put a link to their website that's on WTOL.com.
And still